So this FSBO Seller Guide ends up being a value add that you can provide to FSBO sellers by email, by dropping it off, by mailing it to them. Hi, this is Brian Icenhower, and I want to talk to you a little bit about for sale by owner, or FSBO sellers, and how to obtain listings from FSBOs. And we're going to start and really focus on our FSBO Seller Guide packet. That's quite a detailed packet. We're talking 27 chapters in our table of contents for the packet, 40 plus pages of materials that's all editable and customizable for you to provide to FSBO sellers from whom you are looking to ultimately list their home for sale. So by using this FSBO packet, again, you can put your logo on it, your photo, your colors, all of that. It's fully customizable in our digital format for you. And it can be emailed to them, it can be dropped off, it can be handed to them, it can be left on a doorstep, etc. And it's a way to add value to FSBO sellers, because that's the key. FSBO sellers are not using a realtor because they really don't see the value in a realtor. For whatever reason, they think they can sell their home themselves without involving realtors at all. And that is especially true in markets where there's an exceptionally low amount of housing inventory to sell. If there's really low inventory and it's a strong seller's market, you tend to see more FSBOs. So it's very important to sharpen your FSBO game as a realtor, because we know that when a home is listed with a realtor as opposed to a FSBO, you're going to get a much higher price on average for the home, because it's just exposed to a lot more people. And there's two types of FSBO sellers out there. FSBO sellers who just put the house up for sale, maybe on Craigslist, and a sign in the yard, and do not put it in MLS in any way, shape, or form. There's very little exposure for them, and they're much lower price. And then you've got kind of the in-between or hybrid FSBO seller now, where they list it with a FSBO company that they pay a very small or flat fee to put the home in the multiple listing service. And that does expose it to agents. However, it's very clear to all of the agents that's a FSBO seller, and they realize what a low percentage of transactions with FSBO sellers actually consummate and close. So for them, they were very cautious about showing homes listed by a FSBO seller, because oftentimes the FSBO seller is unrepresented. They don't know the ins and outs of a transaction, and oftentimes those deals don't go through, and that can be very harmful to their own clients, their buyers who want to buy that FSBO home. They might get moving trucks, they might have their listing under contract to buy a house, and all of a sudden the deal doesn't go through and they have to back out of everything, lose deposits, etc., or even get a hotel room until they find another home because they couldn't close on the transaction with the FSBO seller. So either way, FSBO sellers are unattractive to agents, and 98% of buyers that buy homes are represented by realtors. So it's very important that we remind FSBO sellers that we're really marketing to realtors more than we are the general public or buyers. So it's very important that we ultimately list with a realtor. However, in the meantime, we need to earn trust. We need to inform them of this. So giving them this FSBO Seller Guide helps with that, because it explains to them the differences of using the MLS as a FSBO or with a realtor. It talks about the disclosures they need, the fair housing regulations they need to be aware of, how to price their home, and how to negotiate contracts, earnest money deposits, inspections, contingencies. It actually advises them in a lot of ways of how to sell the home themselves, all the while highlighting the real need to have a realtor representing them. And we all know that the vast majority of FSBO sellers do ultimately list with a realtor to get their home sold. So what we're looking to do is build rapport, help them come from contribution along the way until they self-discover that they ultimately need to list their home with you for sale. So this FSBO Seller Guide ends up being a value add that you can provide to FSBO sellers by email, by dropping it off, by mailing it to them, putting it on their doorstep, or a couple of those at once, to help them and to continue have a reason to reach out to them, to stay in contribution along the way. This is a great first step to add value. And oftentimes it'll take a month, 2 months, even 3 months of little value adds like this to have a reason to stay in conversation, to be able to build that relationship, so that they ultimately decide, hey, we need to get this home sold. Let's do it the right way. Let's call Brian, because Brian's really been trying to help us the whole way. And this is a great, meaningful first start. So hopefully you like our FSBO Seller's Guide. Put that to use for you right away with any homes that are trying to be sold via FSBO that you would like to list yourself to help those FSBO sellers out. Okay, thanks again, guys.